Tyler with Gaia Force Gaming, and I am here with Noah Menachie and IZZY CRUZ of the Digi Academy. What's up, guys?
Hello. Hello.
So, I brought you guys Dan Vang's winning deck profile from the first BT5 regional, and now we have second place, which was Noah. Goes by NOBU, so I'm going to just interchange between those names because I'm used to calling him NOBU. And he's here with his teammate IZZY, who ran the same list and also technically went undefeated with it.
Yeah.
So there's a little story to that. We could save it for the end. Let's just talk about the deck right now. So NOBU, you piloted this deck. You credit IZZY to building the deck, correct?
Yeah.
And if you guys want to tag team what's in the deck, what your choices were, what you feel like your matchups were. I think this deck is actually a couple cards different from IZZY's, and it's the eggs. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You are absolutely correct. So, to explain that, no, before everybody asks me again, I'm not toolboxing the eggs. That's not what it is, even remotely. I just don't own 4 Pikmin, and that is the reason why I've decided to play Korra. In retrospect, I would definitely cut the UPA. I did not value the draw more than I valued the -1 KDP. But yeah, IZZY was running 4 Pikmin, 1 UPA, and he says that he values the draw more.
Yeah, the UPA drew me like 5-6 cards one game. It drew me like 3 in another game. It was very powerful in the late game.
But I mean, but NOBU came second.
But yeah, fair enough. Koromon is correct, guys. Everybody play 2-2 and 1.
Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely toolbox
correct ratios.
Absolutely.
Alright. So your rookie lineup. Let's go to that. The eggs, you know.
So the eggs aside, IZZY, I'll let you explain your Shadol theories and whatnot.
So the theory behind LORDKNIGHT is that the only castable cards off LORDKNIGHT are rookies and Knightmons. So you want to have a different variety of rookies that you can summon off the LORDKNIGHTmon, and as well as the Knightmons. So we played 4-Starmon because this is the most important rookie in your deck. It's probably the best card in your deck. So we maxed out on this one. Like this dropping on something for like 5,000, 3,000, 2,000 even is very relevant, and it helps you clear the board, so you have to max out on this one. Then we played 3 Pulsemon. This card isn't as good as it was in War Greymon because you're never really going to 3, gaining a memory and drawing a card. It's only ever like a Gabumon, or only ever a 2-cost vanilla card. So it's really good to have in the early game, but in the late game it's a little worse. Then we played 2 Bushy, because just unlike in BT4, you're not really swinging with Bushy for game, so it's just there to have one in your hand and one in your trash like later on, but it's not as relevant. And then we played 2 promo Patamons, and I'll let NOBU tell you why this is just way better than Lucamon.
So, the reason why we went in with promo Pata is because a lot of the time we saw Lucamon in hand, and it was either dead because you couldn't Digivolve on top of your eggs and start another lineup, or when you did call it, you were already winning that game anyway, so the recovery was a moot point. We used the Pata strictly for the comeback potential. So, case in point, swinging LORDKNIGHT, calling the Pata, getting that recovery, and then from there, as opposed to the Lucy, Pata can get turned into a blocker for either 1 or 2 memory, which effectively makes it 2 health. It came up all the time. I honestly love the card at 2. I saw it. I put it in trash just enough, and I always had 1 in hand to be able to cycle, like IZZY was talking about. Starmon was it always came up. It was always super great in every matchup. Green, yellow. I played against blue as well, and the card just put in the absolute work in all of those matches, just with those magic numbers.
And like Lucamon being a level 3 inherently lost to a lot of the Lady Devimon inheritable. So, like, you're never really playing Lucemon unless you're at 1 anyway. But Lucemon was just kind of like a beat stick, so it never really does anything for you ever. So we just decided to play this.
There was also the issue where Lucemon didn't beat over level 6, so sure, he's a 10k, but he doesn't put any real pressure on the opponent. He just sits there a lot of the time.
Yeah, just having body. And then this was Nobu's, like, one of Nobu's like main contributions to the deck. We played 2 Cutemon, and I'll let Nobu tell you about this card, because this one was awesome.
Alright, this is the best card that Digimon has ever printed. Green is the Kingslayer. It's the Yellow Slayer. At all times, green in BT format absolutely murdered yellow, and because we don't have the War Gray restand, that is just as true now. However, we now have things like Cutemon. We have Cutemon, the red one, and the blue one. They're not as important as Cutemon. So honestly, a lot of the time, this stopped the Digisorption to get into Nidhogg, have that 1 memory punish. It stopped the tribal blue and red decks, so they couldn't reduce off of Nuja. It really screwed over Imperial, which was unfortunate that I didn't get to play against Dang Thing. You know, cutting off 1 round early, but that's A-okay. And it also stopped the Mega Digimon Fusion that Purple plays to get into Zord for free. And a lot of the time, it just felt really good just to have it there. Sure, it's not great in the mirror match, but because the deck is already geared to beat it through getting the tempo off the mass days, through the Zords, through the Cheeky Slash and Chaosmon shenanigans, we didn't really need another rookie to help beat the mirror. We needed a rookie to help deal with our worst matchups, which is green. Green and security control was what this deck was aimed to beat. So we had to really focus in on what cards we could play that would instantly handle those matchups just by seeing them.
I didn't really play any security control, but I think Nobu played 1 or 2, and he said it was the freest matchup of his life.
You were correct. So the thing about playing against security control is that you have Lord Knightmon to go wide, which makes their killed spells less effective, and you have Mastamon to absolutely disregard their security. There was a game where I started off my first turn of the game, threw down a TK, added the Mastamon, didn't get the recovery, and was completely okay. Just because for the rest of the time I was able to build up my board presence, and they just could not do anything about me trashing their security over and over again.
Yeah. So Cutemon was like really insane.
Alright.
And then our last rookie was 1 Kodamon. So, just like how I said earlier, it's kind of like, if anybody plays Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's kind of like Shadol. You play, like your Squamatas, then your Wendy's, and then, like, you play the utility cards that you want to summon off of it. Kode is only ever good early game, and that's it. This card might as well be a vanilla. So we only played 1 of it, but sometimes casting it off of LORDKNIGHT to get, like, a Knightmon is, like, relevant later on, or to get another Lord Knightmon. So, Nobu actually wanted to cut it. I thought it was fine at 1. A lot of the time, it was just Digivolve to the back, so it didn't really matter to me.
After playtesting with it, like playing in the tournament with it, absolutely cut this card. Horrible card. I bottom decked 5 rookies 2 games in a row. Not the card that you want to play. Because every time you do, you're like, wow, look at all these yellow cards. Look at the Pulse Funds I just bottom decked that could have gotten me to, like, real cards. Either play the 4th Pulse Fund, the 3rd Cutemon, or the 3rd Bushi. Kodamon isn't worth it. I don't like this card. I'm not a fan of Gladimon either, which is why it's not in the level 4s, which might be spoilers, but that's fine.
Yeah, we played 0 of that card.
And yeah, he can't even add himself.
Yeah, he's a reptile, so if anybody tries to cheat you and add this card, it's a reptile monster. So, it can be whatever you want. I'll probably still play, like, the 1, unless there's, like, better rookie, but I was cool with the 1 of, so I didn't have the bad experiences Nobu had.
Alright, so that's what, 14 rookies for the rookie count?
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep, 14.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Love
14.
it. Love it.
Which makes ours a little bit more consistent than other people's, because a lot of people will play like 13 rookies and Lucemon, and Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Even if I'm playing Lucemon, me personally, I need 14 rookies I could evolve off of in every deck.
Right.
Unless it's a
Or
combo
like
deck.
Lucemon?
Let me stop you, everyone. Unless it's a combo deck. I get it.
Right.
But
Unless you're like if you do decide to play Lucemon, I would always count that in this section where you count it as a brick, as opposed to an actual Digimon card that gets you to more plays, gets you those draws and those.
yeah. All right. On to the level 4s.
So we played 4 Pedomons. 1 cost blocker is like fairly strong. But this really is just because it was one cost. Like this could be 4 Turimons. We played 3 of that. It could be like 4 Turimons, 3 Pedos, but you have to play at least 7 of these 1-drop cards because they're important for later combos.
I'm a big fan of maxing out on the blockers, so I really like the 4-to-3 ratio. But if you want to get more aggressive with your like Lord Knight pushes, you can definitely focus more on the Truries. That helps you be more resilient into things like Nidhogg.
Yeah, I agree. Then we played 3 Unimon. This card is very freaking good. 2 cost blockers are so good this format because there are situations where like a Lord Knightmon plus like something just doesn't kill these. So like they just get to live an extra turn.
So the thing that would come up all the time is Lord Knight swing, call Knightmon, and then have the Pickmon for the opponent trigger, which would kill the pits. However, the Unimons would still stay protected, which is super valuable when you're trying to get that last-minute dodge.
Yeah. A Shaman also has a hard time against this card, like a really hard time. And a 5 cost is like really good.
Just to play out, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And then we have the One of Gata. It's pretty good. A lot of the time I didn't structure my chains right, so I couldn't get it into the trash to get into Masse. So yeah, I did not play that card effectively at all. If I did, I would have had a much easier time cruising in the Lord Knightmon matchups, because being able to take a health from the opponent, still maintain the same amount, and get the free blocker on board is super huge flow of momentum. And then you threaten Zwart next turn, or something along that effect. AC, how's Gatomon for you?
Gatomon was really good. So, real quick, I just want to talk about these cards specifically. In the mirror, this is how the flow usually goes. Your opponent goes first. Play rookie. Play 1-drop. Okay, you're at 1. Okay, it's my turn. I'll play rookie. I'll play 1-drop. I'll play 3-drop. You're at 3. So now your opponent goes, okay, I'll play ultimate. I'll play mega. You're at 3. So now you're already a Lord Knight behind. But when you're playing these cards, you can do it as, oh, I'll play this. I'll play Unimon. You're at 1. So just by playing these cards, you've changed the tempo of the matchup going second. So you might as well have been going first.
It's the cheapest way to pass the turn, which is super important, because I see a lot of players try to maximize what they're doing, but instead they are also handing the opponent the maximum amount of memory. If I can honestly lock the opponent at 1 while passing my turn, guaranteeing that draw for next turn, say I'm bricking on not seeing a level 5, I wouldn't Digivolve into 3 there. I would just go into the uni, pass the turn, hope to see it next turn. If not, then we would have to commit a rookie to the board. Something like Pulsemon, maybe TK if I have it. All those, just being super memory efficient is always a good thing.
Yeah, and this card is the one you want to cast like earliest game if you have a 2-drop, so that it's in the trash for the late game. Because this card coming back off of the Mastermon is just so much value, like Nobu said.
Yeah,
like insane amounts of value.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to steal this deck. I hope you guys know that. Alright.
I'm pretty sure. So, Ultimates, we played 4 Knightmon. This is not debatable. Like, we mentioned once about playing 3. This is not debatable. This card is at 4.
So before
every Lord Knight you play.
Before you make me sound really stupid, look, alright, before I was on exactly this list, I was trying out Lord Knightmon with the Slash package instead. And I would just default the card consistently and no level 6s to back it. So I was like, guys, this card's terrible. What are you on about? It was not a good time for me. But, however, after jacking Izzy's list and then changing the very important eggs, Knightmon was kind to me, so we were good. We were good to go.
Yeah, this thing just does so much. Even if you're at like 3 and they have a rookie, you can just hardcast Knightmon, put them to 4. You killed the rookie, so you got your 1-for-1 value. And now they have to deal with this Knightmon, or else you're just going to tempo them out in the late game. Like, it puts pressure immediately and takes away a body, which is what I like out of cards, getting the 2-for-1.
Skipping ahead with that, if you want to throw War Growls down too, because
yeah.
Combining the two was what won me a lot of games in both the mirror and against decks that didn't respect me killing the level 5. I would just sit on War Growl in the back, raise up Digiburst, give it minus 4k, Digivolve into LORDKNIGHT, swing into security, call down a Knightmon, delete the level 5, and then from there I was able to continue setting up the board state until they just couldn't come back any further.
Yeah, so a lot of my games went like this, where I'd have a War Growlmon here, my opponent would put me like 3 because of whatever. I'd hardcast like a Knightmon, put them to 4, and be like, okay, you deal with my Knightmon now, or I'm gonna kill you, or even if you do deal with this, I'm gonna raise up this War Growl and kill you anyway. So this card just applies pressure, and puts your opponent in pinch situations really early.
Absolutely.
And then I'll let NOBU talk about that. This is his probably second favorite card in the deck.
So, okay. Alright. We had Qmon, that was my first commitment. My second commitment was Sirenmon, because a lot of the time, we had been talking about being able to most effectively get into LORDKNIGHT, which was rookie for free, 1 cost to Digivolve into a level 4, and then Izzy kept mentioning a 2 cost to get into a level 5, 3 costs to get into a level 6, which was 6 memory in total. And he kept wanting to play Ankylomon, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Level 5, it's 8k DP, and then it is a 7-drop instead of a 5-drop. And we were considering playing that. However, when talking about it, we were like, yeah, you know what? Siren is easily the better card, just because you're able to commit it so much better. TK automatically putting you to 3, you hard call Sirenmon. You put the opponent on 2 memory, which is already limited to most decks. Next turn, you threaten either Lordknightmon or Max Day or Slash, so they can't really safely commit anything to the board. And on top of that, Lordknightmon favors vanillas way more than Wargrey did, which is why we're not playing anything like the Recovery Angelomon or the -2 security attack Call a Rookie Angelomon. Because Lordknightmon strictly doesn't need it. The card's already powerful enough to just go into the vanillas. Super cheap. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. The Angelomons felt very redundant. We play tested a lot. Like, the best thing it could have done was, like, security -2, and that was actually just its best effect, not even the rookie call effect. But, this went with the whole thing that I was talking about having tempo. So, like, if your opponent, even if you went first, like, okay, you put them to 1, they'll put you to, 2? Because they're playing a ultimate, and now you get to play Sirenmon, go to 0, and play Lordknightmon, and you're 2 steps ahead of them already.
Yeah, I like Siren a lot.
Yeah, I was only worried about playing it because it had 6,000 DP, but after like testing, we realized this format isn't BT4 format. 6,000 is a very safe number. 5,000 lower is really like where you struggle harshly. This wasn't getting popped by like Wargreymon, so you could apply pressure, have Wargreymon in the back, and just be like, okay, well, deal with my ultimate, or you're probably just losing the game.
Yeah, because then you get to threaten going into 2 level 6s instead of just the 1.
Yeah, no, I love it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Now, the spice, all of the spices.
All of the spice.
We gotta go through the basic stuff first. For Lordknightmon, this card is ridiculous.
It doesn't need an explanation. We're moving on.
You guys might be the only people playing 4 of them in your Lordknightmon decks.
What?
I'm just, yeah.
It's sarcasm there.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man.
2 Mastamon. So, we didn't want to play the DP reduction version because that version lost really hard, like security, and to like green. So we decided to play this because not only did it take away security, it gave us an extra body, which is what Lord Knight does, and it lets us recycle any of the toolbox cards that we have in the trash. So it was really, really strong.
So with that being said, I did also want to mention that in the straight up DP reduction Lord Knightmon deck, a lot of the time, when I was playtesting that, I had found that it was strictly, my hand is better than your hand this game, I'm sorry about that, GG, well played. However, when I was playing the Mass Day package, it was not only damaging them, it was getting another body out that they had to do the minus DP in. So that would waste their War Growl, which would have killed my Mass Day otherwise. So it was a lot safer to go into Mass Day than to commit to something like Slash or another Lord Knightmon for follow-up, because those things could be focused on and easily removed in those situations.
Yeah, the card was just really solid. Opponent hitting a Nasty as first check off of their Lord Knightmon first swing is just so demoralizing to your opponent. That's like really good. Massamon plus Pulsamon is a really strong strategy. Massamon plus Gato, Massamon plus Pata. Like, all of these cards synergize so well with Massamon. And in the late game, Massamon, bring back Cutemon against the green opponent, just shuts them out.
There are also a lot of times where Mass Day just surprisingly lethals the opponent. Not even because callback Bushi, but strictly because, hey, I'm doing a damage, and then I get to call back something like Starmon's delete a blocker, then swing for game. Which a lot of opponents were just like, wow, okay, you did that. I was expecting Lord Knight into call Knightmon instead.
Joke's on you.
Joke's on you.
Yeah. So then we played one Slash Angemon. We are not playing a DP reduction type deck. We are not playing like War Greymon. We tried it in the beginning, but it was just too slow for what we wanted to do. So,
it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was too slow, it was that Slash put on immediate pressure, by removing something like a level 6 when comboed with either Knightmon or War Growl. Slash, swing Lord Knight, call Knightmon, Slash immediately punished them, Wargrey put on a ton of pressure for them next turn. But again, Wargrey didn't vibe as well with the vanillas, so we had opted for Slash. Also, I'm not playing yellow without Slash in my deck. I'm sorry, this is just the best yellow level 6, and everybody can fight me on that, but I'm okay with it.
yeah, Slash is definitely just like the best yellow level 6 that isn't Lord Knightmon. I can agree. And it just, 4,000 plus 4,000 plus like 4, plus like 8 is just so strong.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. I'm a fan of Slash. I've been playing him since BT1. So, I mean, when I play yellow. When I play yellow.
We played one Valderarm. One Valder. It's like really strong with Slash. It's really strong with like Knightmon deplete things. And it comes up, but we didn't want to play more because we were playing Nasty, so like we only had 5 targets for it.
So I did want to address one thing. I had a lot of Lord Knightmon players say, hey, you're crazy for digivolving a Chaosmon on top of a Lord Knight. The Lord Knight's obviously so much more value, which they are factually correct on. However, when I can go into Chaosmon on top of Lord Knight and wipe the opponent's board, I don't care what I'm left on because they're left on nothing. Like, regardless of giving them 6 memory, I still have a Mega that is much bigger than anything else they can put in, that's going to consistently put in chip damage, while I'm building up another chain super quick due to things like Sirenmon, Turimon. Also, them hitting Chaosmon into security is pretty good early game. I vibe with it.
Yeah, also, 14,000 is like really hard to beat. If you play a Lord Knight, play Chaos, they bring up their Lord Knight, they have to think, oh, if I swing, there's a chance this Chaos just like wipes you. Or if they deal with this, then you just get 3 memory. Like, it's just very hard to deal with this card in general.
I think the gain 3 memory effect came up than being a big number, not gonna lie.
Yeah, and then the last two Digimon in our deck are two Omnimon UNDEFEATED. This card is absolutely absurd.
Izzy, I'll let you explain it.
So, we wanted to play a deck that not only punished Green OTK, Security, and the Mirror. So, we found that these 4 cards all punish the Mirror severely. This card punishes Green OTK heavily. This card punishes LORDKNIGHT getting too aggressive too early. And then, a lot of the times, we could go like, play Masty, or play Blinding Ray, play Masty, go to 6. Play Blinding Ray, put Masty on top of LORDKNIGHT, go to 6. Go down to 2. Bring like back something like a Patamon, recover 1. And then play UNDEFEATED on top of this, put them to 1 popping their Memory Tamer. And it swung the game in so much to our favor. An opponent hitting this card really early is so bad for them. Like, this tempo swings in such a big favor, because it's really hard to deal with. Like, if you kill it, you're killing something important on their board, and if you don't kill it, it's just, like, hitting you for so much damage.
So the thing about Sword is, a lot of the time it had the exact same feeling as Chaosmon. Sure, yes, you can remove this, however, it's the second effect, the on-deletion effect, that would screw over the opponent more often than the actual card just sitting on the board. My opponent's sitting there, like, my opponent's ignoring the card, we're probably playing around it better than somebody who is going all in on getting rid of the UNDEFEATED. Just because it completely evened out. I remember somebody had swung their LORDKNIGHT into UNDEFEATED to kill it, and then I took out their Knightmon that they had just called, and that completely lost them all tempo. I was able to raise up my LORDKNIGHT and then just go completely in. If they had just swung into Security, they were able to establish another Knightmon and then be completely fine the entire time. About, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 chances of milling this card from the top of your Security. It happened to me once on Saturday, and since then it has happened to me once. However, with that in mind, the card is still way too good. You have way too many ways to recover. You have Gato, the 2 Patas, the 3 TKs, all of which have the ability to stack the UNDEFEATED in Security, which is really great in my opinion.
And we decided to only play 2. Like, we tried it at 3, but 3 is too many. Like, seeing multiples of this card in your hand isn't good, but, like, seeing 1 is fine, because you know late game is going to be all about Mastamon anyway. And this card, like, helps you apply pressure. It's really good with, like, the other card in our deck. So
We also really didn't want to focus too much on seeing Sword in Security. If it was there, cool, it's a card. If it wasn't there, then that's fine. My deck still does what it usually does. It was one of those just like, hey, while we're here, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that was honestly the coolest thing seeing, was the UNDEFEATED popping up so much during your games.
Yeah.
it was absurd.
Does UNDEFEATED put in all the work? Literally.
When you play as many TKs in a turn, or like in a game as like me and Nobu played, like eventually you're gonna recover as UNDEFEATED.
Yes, sir. And then that takes us to the last 5 cards in our deck.
A 6, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can count.
We played 2 Blinding Rays, so I am of the opinion this card is not very good in Knightmon decks. However, in our deck specifically, it is a little bit better because of the 2 drops that we played. So being able to go to like 5 if we had a TK, to play Siren, to play LORDKNIGHT, go to 0, was very strong. And then, because we had Mastamon as well, it like made it a little bit better for us. So, I don't know, the card was like good.
Blinding
It was really solid.
It was the best card that I played. Izzy's wild. This card was absurd. When we initially talked about the list, he was like, yeah, I'm not playing Blinding Ray, that card's not great. And I was like, dude, it extends your plays, it stops you from getting choked, it does literally everything that you need it to. And then that goes right into what he was saying about, or what he's going to say about Matt and Ty. It's essentially Blinding Ray, however, it gives the Sword Defeat more pressure, and along with that, they can't Terriermon or Gazimon stop this from gaining new memory. They can stop the blinding. And all of that is super important when digivolving into something like Gato, or digivolving into something like Siren. Just that free 2 memory can put in so much work, honestly.
Really cool thing that I was able to do in the tournament was I went Masty a previous turn. I had a tie in Matt. They put me at like 5 or 7. I don't remember what the number was. I played a Zwart Defeat, popped their Tamer, and then this gives Zwart Defeat security +1. So if you get a Zwart Defeat out from security for free, it's always checking +1, which forces your opponent to deal with it. Or if they don't, and which is cool about this is if you swing and this dies to a security check, you just get a free removal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can use it like retaliation, but still putting pressure on the opponent's health.
Yeah.
And then the last 3 cards are just 3 TK. It's the best tamer in the game.
Best boy.
Actual best boy.
Mimi is a close second, but this card is just a Digimon, which, so how I liked to look at the deck was we played 47 Digimon cards. Most decks play like 2, like 2 Spiral Masquerades, 3 TKs, 3 Blindings. So they're only really playing 45 Digimon. Our deck was more consistent just based on the fact that we got to see lines earlier and cheap lines earlier. So this always gets you something out of your security, puts you closer to a Zwart, and like there's no better feeling than the first TK. You look at your security and you're like, damn, there's a Zwart in there. I can play aggressive for a little bit if I want. Or, oh, I don't have my piece. I'll search for my piece. I'll play a little bit more defensive because I know my opponent is going to check through the majority of my security.
Yeah, honestly, just being able to choke the opponent with the TK. Green can play under chokes really well, yellow cannot. Because most of the time they're not able to play memory efficiently without things like blinding or the cheap vanillas, which made it a lot easier in the mirror matches exactly for TK to be super huge. I'm going to digivolve into Uni, digivolve into Siren, put you at 1, your turn. Go ahead. Essentially threatening them, hey, I have LORDKNIGHT next turn. My TKs are always going to be sticking around. I can go into Knightmon, go into Slash. There are just way too many options for the deck to go out. No, pick one. Way too many options for the deck to go out on that the opponent really couldn't handle if I kept putting them to 1 memory, because we have so many options and ways to do that.
Yeah, one of my favorite plays in the early game is your opponent goes, oh, I'll put you to 1. I'm like, okay, well, I'll play Unimon, put you to 1. Okay, well, I'll play this ultimate, put you to 2. I'm like, well, I'll play TK, you're at 2, go. I have TK and I have tempo the rest of the game. Yeah, that's basically what the deck came down to, was consistency, because we played more Digimon, which means we saw lines faster than our opponents, and tempo, because tempo is what the game is all about.
Yeah, that was the list. Served me really well.
Nobu went XO1, I went X1. Yeah, and then we played in a box tourney today, both got top 8.
Heck yeah. I wasn't playing this list, I was playing Shaolin. The true
I was playing Shaolin. Alright, sorry. I played top 8.
Yeah. Izzy, do you want to tell your technically undefeated story?
Okay, so 2:30 in the morning, night before, Nobu was like, hey, I'm not playing green, and I'm pretty sure he's grateful he didn't play green. He's like, let me see your list. I say, okay, I give him all the theory behind the list, we talk about it, we decide to play 2 Cutemon, because I was playing like a Salamon, we decide on Sirenmon, we changed a bunch of things. We send in our deck list at the exact same time. We have all our registration set. Next morning, it's like 10:05, I go to TO, I'm like, hey, I don't see my name on the registry. TO's like, well, send me all your stuff. So I send him all my stuff. He's like, oh, well, we don't have your deck list. I say, well, that's weird, because me and my friend sent our deck list at the exact same time. Here's proof saying that I sent it, and here is messages saying when we were going to send our deck list. TO goes, well, since we don't have your deck list and deck list submission is closed, you get a round 1 loss. and I'll put you in for round 2.
It was by 5 minutes. That was the part that killed me. It was by 5 minutes. Izzy had to reach out manually for someone. Event prices are pretty pricey considering prize support, and I felt really bad for the man to go actually get defeated for the entire day, and then end up getting, what did you get, 19th?
Got 19th. I lost 1 game the whole tournament, and that's because I overextended against my opponent. He was at 1, and I'm like, alright, the only way he beats me here is if he has Blinding Ray into LORDKNIGHT into Bushy, and then he had it. And then game 3, I tore through him. But I lost 1 game the whole tournament and got 19th because TO couldn't find my deck list.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, that's rough. It definitely could have been handled better, but I guess the lesson is always check early and check often for things like this.
Absolutely.
You're not wrong.
But
I was really proud of NOBU. 2nd place was really strong. I was really happy with the list, extraordinarily happy with the list, because at the end of the day, it did go undefeated twice. Even though he had the draw, in the situation where he was in, I felt like he could have won that game if he didn't go into time.
Being modest, I think that I should cut you off there. It's not relevant. What matters is we got a tie. But yeah, no, before anyone sends Izzy any hate, it was majority his list. It's completely, we are teammates. I wanted to state that clearly. It wasn't like, oh, well, NOBU stole his list and then got 2nd place, and now it's NOBU's list. We tend to joke and give each other a hard time, like Tyler did earlier in the video, but genuinely could not have done this without Izzy. We just talked, we deck built, we worked on it together, and I could not be prouder of how the list turned out and how we performed.
Yeah, we play tested a long time. We got BT5 cards pre-release, we got the decks pre-release, and we play tested at least 40 plus hours.
Yeah, you guys killed it. It's awesome. I mean, you two have been hanging out in the Discord forever, and it was just so cool to see you guys kill it at the regionals.
Heck yeah. It was really great to have everybody that I had talked to from Hawaii's Discord server, from the Gaia Force Gaming dudes, to, of course, the Digi Academy, and everybody in my local cards shop. Everybody just rooting for me. It felt really good.
For sure. Well, this has gone on quite a bit, so I think we could wrap it here. Do you guys have any shout-outs that you want to do at the end of the video?
So, shout out to you, Tyler. Thank you for doing this deck profile. Shout out to NOBU. Shout out to Georgie. He's my, Digimon mentor. Moonrose for helping playtest an ungodly amount. NOBU, of course, insane. Digi Academy, and Ari as well. Ari helped me playtest a lot, for very, good matchups. I played Rookie Rush, it came up. So, shout out to them.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on. For everyone watching, this was a very in-depth deck breakdown with the pilot and the deck maker, and I guess the pilots and the deck maker, but
yeah, sorry.
Wait, one more thing. Sorry, hold
Go
on.
ahead.
I do have to interject. Sorry. Everybody subscribe to this man. He deserves all of the clout. He's truly one of the best people in the Digimon community, and I stand by that statement 100%.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I just want to build a nice community and play card games with my buds.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
That's the wholesome.
So that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching the video if you're still here. If you're not, thank you too, I guess. You won't see this. All right. See you guys.